Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Daffa Balaw, and today I am going to review a bit about my final task in numerical method, and I'm going to talk it specifically in the questions we were given, and of course we're gonna follow the A5 method along the way. So Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So the first uh, question we were asked is we're told to do muhasabah, which is we're meant to measure ourselves realistically. And here I wrote that the time I spent in Badai's class, especially in numerical method, I have to be quite honest and say that I could have done more, and that compared to my other class I have with Badai, which is fluid mechanics, I've quite frankly been slacking in numerical methods. But having said that, I did learn much from this class, especially in life compared to numerical methods material itself. Throughout the classes I've attended, but they always emphasize more on how we study, the mindset we must tune, and most importantly, our intentions, which is something that not a lot of lecturers would teach us, and that's something that's quite opened my eye, and it gave me a lesson worthwhile receiving. But they always also emphasizes on staying conscious, that is staying conscious of our intention towards God, and it always reminds us to be so. And but I must say that it's easier said than done, because at least for me, as I've used to basically be programmed that my intention of studying is for grades, and it hasn't been easy definitely to stay conscious and reprogram myself. And at times I found myself going out and acting unconsciously, as in going back to my usual self. Despite that, I did as much as I could, though maybe not the best that I could. But I hope that all my efforts that I put in would be recognized and appreciated. Uh, if I had to give myself a score that's realistic and objective, I'd have to say that I'll give myself a 70 out of 100, as to the fact that I did as much as I could, but not really to the best of my abilities. And I fully recognize that. And I've set my intention from the very beginning of writing this, and that I'll be realistic. And I think that's the most objective score that I could give to myself. And for the second problem, we were given a problem about uh, military use of spring mass systems, and we'll get on to the intention immediately. So my intention in solving this problem goes back to my intention of enrolling in Universitas Indonesia itself, which is that I want to be better, and I want my parents to be proud, and I want to serve God, and I also someday contribute to my nation for a golden Indonesian 2045. And in my position now, I have to solve this problem. My intention is still the same, with the addition of to also staple my understanding, so to say, about the application of spring mass system in military applications using numerical methods, and of course to get closer and serve God more because of it. We'll move on to our initial thinking. So, uh, in this particular problem, we were given a set of list of materials, a set of list of components that we can use to for the spring mount system, and we were basically told to find which is more cost effective, more effective in general. So we can begin on our initial thinking, and the spring system revolving around it is usually kinetic and potential energy. So we can write kinetic potential energy as V. So Vm plus Vg is minus mgx plus half kx squared. As V is the potential energy, T is the kinetic energy. We can see kinetic energy here. Um, and we can see here from the illustration that I got. And this is the spring, this is the mass, the x, the k is the constant for the spring, and x dot is velocity traveled, k is the stiffness, and x is the distance traveled. So, from what we can get from that, we can move on to our idealization. And in this phase, we can idealize and use the like Rayleigh method to make the fundamental simulation for the system, and we could write it as here L equals T minus V, and we can apply derivative of time to this equation, and we'll get that uh, x 2 dot equals G minus K per M times X. Now we'll get our idealization out of the way, and which is pretty simple. And we could probably do more in the initial thinking, because Bade always mentioned that, well, he emphasized more on our few classes that if we were given like 60 minutes to a problem, 55 minutes of it would be for thinking, and 5 minutes of it would be for solving. And that's something that Einstein also said. And I could have done a lot more in the initial thinking, but we'll move on for the sake of continuity onto the instruction set. So in this last phase of instruction set, we can make a quote from the data that we've obtained and idealized. So here I'm using sort of a pseudo Python code. It uh, looks and sounds like a Python, but I haven't actually tested it out. But it does uh, make sense as if we were to put it in a in a map of a program. It would make sense logically speaking. So we'll import SymPy and we'll import the physics mechanics import. And here we will be defining the variables, which is mj, kt, and x. And to the next set of codes, we'll be defining the derivatives. And we're basically defining all of the things that we need to define before we actually use the Euro Lagrange to solve the equation. And here is the uh, the code where we're actually used to solve the problem that we have, and we can print L to find the exact specific number. And the other thing is number three was the problem that we were given, and it's basically more of a we were asked of our opinions about Elon Musk comment on AGI, that is artificial general intelligence. Uh, Okay, so we'll start with Elon Musk first. Elon Musk is one of the most prominent names in modern history. Probably heard him a lot about his contribution in space travel, contribution in electric vehicles, contribution in a whole bunch of stuff. And there's quite a bit of things to say about AGI, it's artificial general intelligence. So Elon claims that AI will surpass human intelligence by 2 years by now, which is 2026, and that the only reason that it's been withheld is because of the amount of electricity that we have. It can't currently support AGI of itself. And if I were to ask about my opinion on it, about what Elon said about it, I will go back and think of, uh, especially in AI technology, advancement technology itself, it always brought me back to science fiction world because I am really interested in science fiction, especially in the cyberpunk esque genre, where technology has advanced so much, yet morality has become a relic of the past. It's not so easy to be found. And if we were talking about the advancements of technology and what would it do to businesses, to human life, I think that technology would make it easy for us to live as humans. And I think that if we would make it too easy, humans would create harder times because the saying of hard times create strong men and easy time creates weak men. And I think that the point that we should be more focusing on is that we should be wary of, especially, is for AGI. And we can say that AGI might really surpass human intelligence, and it might even have emotional intelligence, but I don't think that it can truly replicate emotional intelligence as much as it can replicate human intelligence as much as surpass it. So as technology progresses, human life becomes easier, as I said, interaction becomes scarce. The most important thing, interaction becomes scarce. It is important to keep use of our hardware. The thing that Padai mentioned about us is brainware and hardware, because the one thing that any AI can't truly have. So it's supposed to be can't truly have. So we should really focus on our hardware, focus on our morality, on our humanity, so that though even though AI can overtake us in human intelligence, we can still keep in touch with our humanity and keep in touch with our emotional intelligence and our relations with other humans, not just with AI. And that is something that no artificial intelligence can truly replicate. And I think that's something that we should be more focusing on as uh, technology advances and as technology becomes more progressively advanced. And of course, again, as we're human, as we are created from God, we're basically almost becoming like a pseudo God with how we're making this artificial generalized intelligence. And I think it's, well, maybe we're not really playing God, but we are almost kind of like simulating it. Like we think that we're really advanced. We think that we're really powerful, but of course we're not. We as humans, we all come from the same God. Whether God you may bow down to or serve, but we can, you know, we can say that we're all, as humans, we're all created by one God, and that is something we all have in common. So, well, I'm not talking for atheists, of course. I'm talking for people that actually believe in God. So, but you get the point what I'm saying. So we should really connect more with our human self, with our humanity, and connect to our Creator, which is God. And that's something that Day 5 and Day always emphasize, of course, about staying conscious and having intentions going back to God itself. So that's what I wrote and what I have done for my final task in numerical methods. Hopefully that uh, I have explained it quite well and explained it more thoroughly than I did in the paper. Because in the paper I didn't explain really that much because I didn't have enough time. And hopefully that this video can actually clear up all the things that I said that I wanted to say in the paper, and that it could be, if any of use, it would be really uh, I would be really proud of myself. It could be any of use, and it could give any sparks of inspiration or thinking, and it could spark thoughts that could benefit anyone who's watching. And if there's any opinions or any questions that you would have, you can put them in the comment. But for that, I'd like to say thank you for watching, and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.